These are ripened cacao pods. Each one of these pods has about 40 seeds in it. We now call them coffee beans and chocolate beans, but they're technically seeds on the inside. These are the cacao beans. These are all covered with a real sugary pulp. So if you'd like, just grab one. This one's not really bitter that much at all.
And bite the whole thing.
Just to eat the whole thing.
So how would you buy this in the States?
You can't. From the time these get picked, you've got about 3 days to open them up and start fermenting. It's not bad, is it?
No.
I think one thing we can all agree on is it doesn't taste anything like chocolate. Cacao has to grow in a canopy, under a canopy. If you grow this out in full sun, they burn up. So it needs a rainforest to grow in. And that's why the trees don't try to get very big. Other trees are at a race to get to the top of the canopy so they can hog all the sunlight. You can still see the flower attached around the little mini pod here. From the time that flower gets to the point where I've got a yellow pod that can be harvested takes only 4 months.
It grows fast.
Typically go out about every 6 to 8 weeks and harvest. We get anywhere between 500 to 3,000 ripe pods when we go out. You'll notice they have a little black bandana over their eyes. That's the only thing that they have in common from one frog to the next. Other than that, the spotting and striping on them is unique, like our fingerprints are. The interesting about the sloth is with their first offspring, they will only teach them half of the foods that they like.
Benji,
Yeah.
that's the first time I've ever seen a banana tree.
Me
I
too.
love this tree. I love it. I love it.
What you do is just let a few of them get up on your finger. And crunch them.
Benji, try it.
Tastes like carrots.
I had 3, and the burst of flavor in your mouth is unbelievable for as small as these are.
You said it.
Mikey, try it. Go ahead.
Would this not qualify me as a vegetarian anymore?
Oh, that's right.
Never mind. You dumbass.
How was it?
Kind of like carrot and wood. I think I need a few more.
Help yourself, there's plenty. They're expecting the price of chocolate to go up between 25 and 40% this year. A lot of that is because of a black pod disease that has been spreading around, and this one has just succumbed to it. So today I will have one of my guys come, we'll cover this with a bag, we'll cut this off, and they will take it out and either bury it or burn it. Like any fermentation process, you take yeast and you mix it with sugar. And you already saw the sugary pulp that was on each one of these beans. Well, when we put them in these boxes, it combines with the yeast that's already in the box, or yeast that's in the air, and they begin to ferment. What we're after in the fermentation process is the heat generation. Typically it runs about 7 days for a full fermentation process. And once we're done there, we take all of the beans and we dump them out here onto the bed. Trying to get them down to about a 7 to 9% water content with 2 weeks in the sun. Most of the equipment in here has been MacGyvered together by the previous owner. This is actually a propane tank that has been converted into our roasting machine. Connected to a little 12-volt DC motor, and we get this up to the proper temperature. We put in 5 pounds of beans and we roast those for about a half an hour. This is basically an old meat grinder back here that's been attached to an electric motor. We've got a vacuum cleaner that's connected over here onto this other bucket right here. We turn on both motors, the vacuum cleaner and the motor there. We put the beans in here. They're ground up by the meat grinder. My Clorox accumulator here then takes these materials, and as they fall off into the clean bucket, the nibs, the shells are sucked off by the vacuum cleaner. Hershey's, Mars, all of them are allowed to have 2% shells in their final products. The roasted shells are particularly bitter, so we go to great lengths to try to get all of the shells out. Our nibs. At this stage, they're a lot like nuts. These are also great on vanilla ice cream.
Ooh, these
you
look
can
nice
put them
and
in
dark.
oatmeal. You can put them in yogurt. There's a lot of different ways. Carl eats a teaspoon a day just as part of his health regime, and along with other herbs and vitamins. A lot of people will use
Super
these.
sweet.
But they do not work well to make chocolate chip cookies. We tried.
No.
So now if we want to make something that needs to be melted, we take these and we run them through this machine behind you. This is actually a cornmeal grinder. This has 2 plates in here that grind together. You can grind corn into flour using this. And we will run the nibs through 10 times. While they're still hot, we pour them into our homemade molds, which are PVC pipes that we put into wooden frames. Now this is not fit for consumption because there's also a lot of small little pieces of shell in here. You can feel them in there, but this makes an excellent exfoliant. There's a spa in Bocas, little spa by the sea, I think is what it's called. For $65 you can get a chocolate treatment. They will exfoliate you, leave you covered in chocolate. All of the cocoa butter soaks into your skin, and when you go shower off, it feels like silk.